Once upon a time, there lived a woman named Ozioma. Ozioma had been married for 7 years without a child. She had done everything in her power and taken all the herbs people had recommended that would make her conceive. But still, 7 years on, Ozioma was still without a child. Her husband began to move around the village with other women, and this broke Ozioma's heart. One day, Ozioma was on her way to the farm when suddenly she felt a very sharp pain in her stomach. She began to scream, and people nearby rushed her to the village herbalist. It was there that Ozioma found out that she was pregnant. Oh, what a happy day for Ozioma. She could not believe her ears. "I am pregnant?" she asked over and over again to make sure that she wasn't dreaming. Ozioma's joy knew no bounds, as finally she would soon become a mother. After several months, Ozioma gave birth to a very beautiful girl. She named her Kambili. Kambili was a very beautiful and calm baby. Everyone gathered to catch a glimpse of her beauty as she looked so different from other babies that were ever born in the village. Kambili had blue eyes, and this amazed the villagers who had never seen a baby with blue eyes. Soon later, rumors began to fester that Kambili was from another world. Some even believed that the baby was possessed by some evil spirit, and this made many to stop associating with Ozioma and her family. Ozioma's husband, seeing the way people looked at his daughter, told Ozioma that he did not want to have anything to do with Kambili and herself, as he threw them out of his house and married another wife. Ozioma then moved from house to house, begging for refuge, but no one was kind enough to shelter the mother and the baby. Having nowhere else to go, Ozioma decided to travel far, far away to a distant land, to a village that has been rumored to be filled with only kind people. They journeyed for days till they arrived at the village, and the people received them wholeheartedly. Ozioma had never seen such kindness in her life, as the people not only gave her shelter, but also food, clothes, and money. Ozioma and Kambili lived amongst the kind people for so many years, and Kambili grew into a very beautiful girl, so brave and adventurous. She loved to hunt and would spend most of her days in the forest. Kambili was the best hunter in the village, and the villagers would always hail her when she walks home with her game. One day, Kambili was hunting in the forest when she saw a pregnant deer that was stuck and badly injured. Kambili had compassion for the deer and tried to free the deer when suddenly she noticed the deer was healing itself. Light emanated from her hands and she was in so much shock. Kambili had never experienced this before, so she kept it to herself. Months passed and a great famine began to sweep through neighboring villages as most villages began to experience drought. Crops and animals began to die due to shortage of water. Word of this got to their village, and the people began to stock up on food and water. But to their greatest surprise, The famine never affected their land. Only their land flourished, as the neighboring villages were all experiencing great famine. Word got out that there was a certain village that had food and water, and people from the neighboring villages began to travel in search of food and water. People began to troop into Kambili's village, and not long after, the village was filled with so many hungry and malnourished people, including children. The village leader was now overwhelmed as hundreds of people were now in need of food and water. So, the village leader then decided to put Kambili in charge of catering to the people who were now filling their land. Because of their kindness, the villagers could not turn back hungry people, so they let everyone in without discrimination. One morning, whilst Kambili was receiving the foreigners at the village gate, she caught sight of one young boy who was badly wounded and looked like he was about to die. Next to him was a man and his wife, crying their eyes out as they screamed, "Do not let our son die." Kambili was filled with compassion and could not ignore their cries. So she rushed to them and immediately grabbed the injured leg of the dying boy. And to the amazement of everyone, the boy regained consciousness and his wound healed instantly. Everyone was now in shock as they had not seen anything like this before. Kambili became the talk of the village as people began to gather outside her house in need of healing. After a few days, Kambili and her mother were home when they heard a knock on their door. Her mother, Ozioma, went to answer the door when she received the shock of her life. It was Kambili's father standing outside her house with his son from his second wife. It happened that the young boy that Kambili healed was her stepbrother, and the man thought it wise to come thank the young lady that healed his son, not knowing that it was Kambili. Kambili could not believe this, as her father was too ashamed to face her. He could not get over the fact that the daughter he rejected ended up being the one who saved his son. He begged for forgiveness and thanked Kambili for being so compassionate and kind. Shortly afterwards, after several villagers had consulted with their gods to know why the village of kind people remained the only village with plenty in the midst of famine, they received a message that the village of kind people was favored because of Kambili. Kambili was a special child, highly favored by God. So, wherever she lived, had plenty. When the people heard this, everyone wished Kambili lived in their village, and her father and people in his village all regretted what they did to Ozioma and Kambili and wished they treated them differently. The lesson to be learned from this story is that it is okay for people to be different. If someone does not look like you, does not make you better than them. Always treat people with kindness, regardless of their situation, as you never know what tomorrow holds. I hope you enjoyed the story.
Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps us grow our channel. I'll see you in our next story. Bye.